I'm a big fan of giving back to people, but also I understand I can sometimes only, you can give money or you can give time. And sometimes it just makes more sense to give your time to people that like money's not going to change their situation. It's like imprinting upon them and telling them that they have encouragement that really only you could provide by spending time with them. So that's a little bit about me. I'm a real estate investor. I'm a fund owner. I'm a mom of two. I've been married for 11 years to my husband, John. And that I believe is kind of the summary of all of my story. You could almost say it like I'm a cat mom. So silly to say that out loud. Hello and welcome to my podcast. My name is Tiffany Alexander and this is episode 1. This is Unveiling Journeys. Welcome. Here's what this looks like. We are embarking together on this podcast. This is my very first podcast, and I was encouraged to do this by mentors in my life. And they said, hey, you got to get to know some really cool people, and I want to introduce you to them, and I'm going to show you how to get to know a lot more really cool people. And through that, it's all been unwrapping this part of my story that I want to share with everybody. So what we're going to do is we're going to have some amazing guests on my show, and I want them to unveil. I want them to unwrap and tell us about the journey of where they are right now and then what it took for them to get there. I want them to tell us about the highs and the lows. And the thing that a lot of people maybe don't even ask is what's on their heart? Like, why is it so important that you're doing what you're doing? Like, obviously, sometimes as business owners, we stay up late and we get up early and we go out there and we crush it. And we go out there and we have our highs and we have our lows. And it's usually because we want to help other people. We want to do this so bad. And I want to hear why and how they got to where they're at. A part of all of this, I'm going to be introducing you to some people that I've met along this networking journey that I've been a part of. And let me just tell you, it is October 2024 and we are go for launch. I've spent the last several months recording a ton of episodes with a lot of amazing people. And this is really just tier 1. This is level 1, our launching pad. We're going to get this going and you're going to start to see some of these people, their companies, their hearts, their journeys. Sometimes they have products. And I just want you to know that there's stuff out there that I've been bumping into that is changing the way that I see business, changing the way that I see other business owners helping other business owners. I mean, no joke, as an entrepreneur, we've been through highs, we've been through lows, and we've been sometimes left and sometimes all the way right. And I just want to be able to be the person to share some of those journeys with you. If you like, stay here, buckle up, because I want to share with you my journey. My journey is, oh man, let's start from the beginning. Here's what I usually do. I tell people, hey, listen, I was born and raised in California. I'm like from the valley, y'all. It is Central California in Modesto. And I decided I didn't want to live here anymore after I grew up. And I moved all the way over to Florida. And I went to school right here. This is my actual poster that was on the wall in my dorm room. I was an aerospace engineer and that was my major. And I decided, holy crap, I was not great at physics. No matter how much tutoring, no matter how much help, no matter how many times I failed that class, I decided that is not at all what I wanted to do with my life anymore. I ended up saying, hey, I'm out. I didn't want to do this. And let me just tell you, I had to bow out of college entirely because I did not know what it is that I wanted to do with my life. And I ended up getting what people call a job, job, which a lot of people in the entrepreneur space call it just over broke because they kind of just pay you enough to stay, but not really enough to get ahead and quit and go live on an island with a fruity drink in your hand, right? Well, I was actually at one of my jobs and I had to get up for a shift that was at 4 a.m. at the Orlando airport, which is where I lived at the time. And I saw one of those, like the seminar infomercial that was in TV land, midnight talk. And they were saying, hey, you could learn how to go flip houses. What? I had no idea what that was. And through that, I ended up going and meeting people that were there. I listened to this 2-hour pitch and they were like, hey, listen, you can go flip houses for the price of $3,000. I didn't have $3,000, right? I was at a job. I was just over broke. I did not even have a credit card to my name where I could go ahead and put that on a credit card. Well, here's what happened. I went back to my job after I called all my friends and family and I said, "Hey, help me go pay for this seminar because I'm going to go learn how to flip houses." And they were like, no, you maybe you should figure out how to do it on your own." Well, I ended up going back to my job and I'm working at the airport. And the person that was the guy that was selling me the program ended up bumping into me at the airport with my cute little tie and my khakis. And I was letting people in line to go through the airport at the fast pass lane. And I was like, "Hey, hey," the Spider-Man meme where they're like, are you the same person?" Yeah, that was the same guy. And he said, "Hey, no worries. You don't have to go and pay for that seminar. No worries. Like, what else do you do?" And so forth. I ended up saying, I don't know. And he said, "Hey, would you be interested in coming to work for our company?" What? He asked me for my email and he said, "Hey, I'll get back to you. Beef up your resume and let me know if you're good in sales and I'll talk to you soon." And he left like through, the lane that you go through in the airport and the security. And then you take a tram over to the other side. And I thought, I, he took my email. I don't have his phone number. It was like amazing. A few weeks later, I get an email. It says, "Hey, how about that resume?" Well, here's what happened. I ended up going to work for that company that I could not afford to pay for their seminar. And as I got a job with that company, one of the requirements to work with the company was to go take as a company seminar to learn how to go flip houses with one of the gurus back in the 80s, Robert Allen. Nothing down in the 80s. He wrote that book, and that was what the seminar was based on, that you could go flip houses with no money down. I'd like to tell you everybody had a happy ending and that's where it all ended. Well, no, it actually took me a few years of working as an employee for them to say, "Tiff, why haven't you gone to go flip a house yet? Why haven't you gone to go flip a house yet?" And until I really hired my very first mentor and I had people pushing me outside of my comfort zone, I did not go buy my first property until I was, I can't do backwards math. It was 2009 when I went to go buy my first property. And it was back where I live in Modesto, California, where my family was at. And it was my very first fourplex. So that means I became a landlord, I became a homeowner, and I actually started hitting the grind because I bought a fixer upper from the bank just after the crash. Because the '07, '08 problem, I ended up kind of buying at a really good time. But that opened my eyes like, what? I could do all of this. And it just took a little bit of paperwork, a little bit of borrowing, a little ingenuity, a little bit of emails back and forth. It really wasn't all that difficult. It was just me, though. That was it. It was me and the effort and the motivation that I was pushing to keep making this deal happen. Well, as soon as you start letting people know, "Hey, I want to flip a house. I want the lead flow. I want to do this again." It was literally just months later, I'm getting these lead flows and I started actually just buying fourplexes. And you could buy them on auction and you could buy them with borrowed money and you could buy them with your money and you could buy them with like Robert Allen, no money down. And then deals started coming to me where I could go flip houses without my own money or flip houses with very little money because it was the crash and you could buy stuff for nothing and turn around and sell it again. So my journey started as a landlord and as a house flipper. Now, the word sort of got out that Tiffany could go out and be a consultant for your company. And Tiffany also flips houses and also is a landlord. And so I was a key person that some people wanted in the back of their room to represent as a person in their company that would represent their brand. So I got paid big fees to go out and be a consultant as the expert flipper in the back of the room. So I actually got to fly all over the world, even brought me over to Australia, and I was all over Canada to teach people how to flip houses. Now, I wasn't always the speaker in the front of the room. There was like a main person that did that. But if they needed an hour break or we had small group huddles in the back of the room, I was certainly one of the top experts that were there. Now, I'd like to say that was the end of my fairy tale and all is happy and everybody went home. No, I had highs and I had lows. And then you know what? I took another seminar. I went to a stock thing. I went to a foreign currency trading thing. I went to a tax lien thing and you buy that. I went to a tax deed thing and you buy that. And then I went to a note trading thing and then you buy that. And I realized, well, you could just educate, but you have to take action. You have to take action. So I started trying to decide which direction did I want to go. Meanwhile, I'm being influenced by some of the most incredible people that were in the space that were the experts in the back of the room that were kind of shoulder to shoulder with me. And some of them were flipping mobile home parks. Some of them were doing don't let me get too far, but like a sandwich lease option where they sublease, or they're just creating the deal and they don't even have to own it, but they're making the profit from in between. And I got so inspired to know that I was surrounding myself with just these incredible people, because some people that were hired as a consultant in the back of the room, sometimes they were just there for a paycheck and they would go home, and they've never flipped and they've never owned a property and they've never landlorded and had a terrible tenant. Like, some of the things that I've grown over the years that I really like to share with people is, hey, just literally 8 years ago for me, I ended up graduating out of being a home flipper and a landlord because some expert in the back of the room, who's still a near and dear friend to me, said, hey, by the way, are you a real estate investor? Yeah, what do you do? Hey, well, I own mortgages. And I thought, what? I actually really thought that I knew what I wanted to be finally when I grew up. And that was a landlord and a house flipper, right? And here this person was questioning the very belief that I had structured and thought I was going to do for the rest of my life. Now, this was age 32, by the way, thinking like, I've got this. I'm an expert in the back of the room. I've done all these deals. And now I'm actually trying to get myself to graduate out of the single family space and move into the multifamily space of big apartments and hotels and strip malls, which, by the way, is like amazing to move into that space. But now being there, opening up my eyes to knowing that I could just be the bank. And one of many things that he told me was, hey, listen, think about every downtown that you've ever been to. What are all the names on all of those buildings? Chase, Capital One, US Bank, right? All of those names on most of those buildings, they're all banks. Now, are all the banks owning all these properties and all the people are tenants? No, they just own the paper. And I wanted to figure out what that was and what that looked like for me. So we crunched some numbers, and I decided 8 years ago, hey, I don't want to own any more rental property. I don't want to flip another house. And that's where a huge another shift, like a fork in the road of my investing took place. Now, I'd like to tell you it was all perfect from there, but then I had to go sell out all of my rental property. And some of them were silly and some of them were amazing and some of them were whatever. But from there, I was able to take the proceeds and roll that into the next space and start actually buying mortgages. This is where it could get hairy, but I want to let you know that I now encourage people, and I've even brokered deals and I've let people into the world that I'm in right now, because I don't encourage people to go flip houses or own rental property anymore, because you could actually get the same, if not a better rate of return by just owning paper. Like, imagine logging into your bank account once a month and trying to feel like, hey, I am just collecting like a mortgage check, from someone that you're waiting to get back that investment from. And I really like spending time with people to crack into them, to let them know, like, hey, you don't have to have the risk and the T's, they call them tenants, toilets, turnover. And I have like a loving fourth one that I've added in here. It's tears. I've had so many tears with some rental property that I don't want people to experience. I want you to skip over the part where you have your tenants and you're flipping with contractors and you're trying to deal with the price of everything and getting contractors to show up just so that you can deal with your realtor and hopefully have open houses and have that property sold. Well, now on this side, I just want people to pay their mortgage. And if they don't pay, that's even a whole nother side that you crack into, that it's like, well, gosh, how can I help them get caught up? Is there a program in their state that will get them caught up? Do they maybe just want to walk away from the property? Oh my gosh, that's okay too, because I buy their mortgage cheaper than what they even owe the bank, and when I become their bank, I'm into it less for what they are into the property. Now, this doesn't just happen magically, miraculously. This happened because I took years and years of training, and I work with the best, like the godfather of the industry of all of these spaces, of the mortgage space, of the commercial space, of the single family space. And when you get to the top of the ladder, not only do you get the most expert advice, the best leads that you can come across, but you also have that like camaraderie. So if I come across a deal that I don't even know what I'm getting into, or it's just something outlandish, or maybe the paperwork's all funky because now we're on the paper side, we're not on the tenant side. I'm just a phone call away from an expert. So here's what happened. I've met some amazing people. And one of the people that have bumped into my life that we decided to stay close is my business partner, Brian. And we met like just happenstance as we were kind of consulting. And even though he's in the finance space, took a seminar just like I did and went and wholesaled 38 houses the very next 30 days after he bought his very first seminar ticket. And then from there, he realized, whoa, I'm kind of good at this. Maybe I should keep going at it. Well, our paths crossed in 2017 and we decided, oh my gosh, you're kind of a cool person. Let's be friends. Well, when our paths crossed again in 2019, we were like, hey, let's stay friends. Like, I think we should do business together someday. Short a while later, we decided in 2020 to open up our very own fund. And what that means is we did all of the fancy paperwork with all of the high priced attorneys to get our idea registered and filed with the Securities Exchange Commission. What does that mean for you? Well, maybe not much, but this is just like a part of my story. I now allow people to come and ride on my coattails. So if you want to just invest with me, and instead of me just going out and doing all my own flips, all my own holds, and now buying all my own notes, I'm going to let you come in with me and invest with me. And so that's kind of like an open invitation. I'm allowed to actually say, hey, people that are like high net worth or accredited investors, if you know what that means, you can actually come work with me. You can place money in my fund and we can go and operate and delegate where that money is going to go in these very, very low risk deals that I've spent 8 years and my mentors, a combination of hundreds of years of all of their total experience, knowing exactly what to do no matter what the market does. So really, this is it. This is like the apex of my journey. I've come this far, this long. I feel like those people that say, hey, how did you like reinvent yourself? Like, I don't know. I woke up at the age of 39 and was thinking to myself, what can I do differently? How can I serve more people? And by opening this fund, I'm allowing people to do what I've done sort of in this invisible space and not really let a lot of people know what it is that I do. And now I'm allowing people to do it with me. And it's only going to make sense for a couple of people that are literally even watching this video. But if you feel like you're one of those people, definitely let me know. Like, hey, I just want to get to know you because I'm like obsessed with people and their story and how people tick. And so I really am excited to hear about everybody's journey on this podcast. Like, I want to unveil everybody's journey and get to hear them out. The other thing is you get to hang out with me a little bit more. And you can do that anytime you want to like grab time on my calendar because my website is aspensagefund.com. And then I'm going to have the YouTube so that way you can check it out with the podcast episodes that we're going to be releasing. And we're going to be using other multiple platforms. And of course, LinkedIn, right? Most business professionals nowadays have a LinkedIn account. So that way you can check out and see like your friendly resume, I guess. That's so silly. You can always find me on Facebook too. I try not to spend a ton of time on there because it can be like a time suck for me. Some of the things that I like to do in my personal, like my like funsy time is I have two toddlers. I have a new 4-year-old and I say new because she just turned 4 years old and a 6-year-old. And what do? We love playing outside. Like, if you know where I'm at, I'm probably one of those people that still likes to mow their lawn. I like to plant flowers and we have a pool, so we want to spend time outside. And I live in Modesto. It's the desert. It is literally 100 degrees today. It's October. What was the weather people like? What were they thinking? That's okay. I do enjoy being out here. So if you're going to catch me, I'm either recording a podcast episode, hanging out with my mommy group because we do volunteer at like charities through our local churches. I'm a big fan of giving back to people, but also I understand I can sometimes only, you can give money or you can give time. And sometimes it just makes more sense to give your time to people that like money's not going to change their situation. It's like imprinting upon them and telling them that they have encouragement that really only you could provide by spending time with them. So that's a little bit about me. I'm a real estate investor. I'm a fund owner. I'm a mom of two. I've been married for 11 years to my husband, John. And that I believe is kind of the summary of all of my story. You could almost say it like I'm a cat mom. So silly to say that out loud. I have 3 cats, so they're gonna make a guest appearance because some of them like to be on my lap throughout some of these shows, and I'm so grateful for you, and I'm thankful for you, and I'm praying for you because I want you to get whatever you're supposed to get out of these episodes that you're gonna be looking through, pouring through, following along with me in my journey of having this very first podcast. If you want to be a guest, I invite you to send me a message. That way we can see if it's a good fit and I can bring your story on the podcast. And that way we can kind of just go from here. I am so excited that you're here. Thank you so much for spending time with me and hearing my journey. I'm sure I may have left pieces out, but we could unpack that as I hang out with more people on the podcast. So, with that, I hope you have a great day and I will be seeing you soon. All right. One more thing before you go. Don't forget to stop by and follow me on LinkedIn, Tiffany Alexander, Facebook, /Tiff Space Cadet. You got to come find me on YouTube and you could go check out my fund website. It's aspensagefund.com. And I want to leave you guys with an amazing nugget from entrepreneur to you, business owner to you, whether you are a friend, family member, another fellow business owner, entrepreneur, whatever that looks like. Anybody, right? Even if you're just like a stay-at-home mom, like a bunch of my friends in my mommy group, this message is for you. Don't give up. Don't stop. Don't quit. There is so much ahead for you. This world is full of so much abundance. You just got to let people know what it is that you want and reach out and go take it. One quote that I have to remind myself of a ton is by Bruce Lee. And it is, the master has failed more than the beginner has ever tried. If you think you're not where you're at, where you want to be, where you're going, try again. Ask again. Reach out. Let people know. And the world is your oyster, right? Waiting for you. See you soon.